And what they don't say is, hey, for the first 2 years, most startups, you don't make any money.
Yes.
You as the owner make no money.
Yes.
Your employees make money. You do not.
Yes.
Yeah, there's cash flow gaps and there's learning a balance sheet and there's lines of credit and there's taxes and all these other things that for the most part, the first couple of years of your startup, you don't have autonomy. You're not making any money. There is no financial security or freedom. It is a grind.
You are not on a private jet. You are not doing any of the shit that people flash on social media.
Mm-hmm.
None of it.
Yep.
Welcome to Married to the Startup. I'm Alicia McKenzie, a wellness entrepreneur and digital creator. Alongside me is my amazing husband, George, the CEO who's always ready for a new challenge. We've been navigating marriage and running startups for over a decade, and we're here to share the real, unfiltered journey with you. Join us for insights and candid conversations about integrating love, family, and entrepreneurship. This is Married to the Startup, where every day is a new adventure.
Welcome to another episode of Married to the Startup. I am your host, Alicia McKenzie.
I am the other person here who has such an eloquent singing voice.
What's your name?
Me llamo es Jorge. Oh, it's just me llamo Jorge. There's no S. Me llamo Jorge.
Your Duolingo is paying off.
Sí. Esta es la casa de mi tía.
Yes, dear.
¿Dónde está la biblioteca?
Okay. So before we get started, I actually just want to put a disclaimer on all of these episodes because we record on Tuesdays. The episodes go live on Sunday. And a lot of the information that we get, it's stuff that we've seen within the past month. But technology is moving so fast that there could be another update and make this whole episode obsolete.
Okay. Yes. And there often is, especially in the AI race.
Exactly.
There's been lots of products born and killed within a month.
Seriously. But
I've seen some that get funded and then their entire business model is turned on its head after a new model release.
Yes. So just a disclaimer that the information we have is what we have at the time. And maybe by the time you see it, it doesn't make sense. But
so comment in the comment section if you find an error.
Yeah, we're open to feedback.
And
we're
we
open to
will
feedback.
Not correct it promptly.
And that is what really prompted this, because we got a comment in one of our stories and it was basically saying, like, show me the receipts when it comes to AI, right? Because you hear a lot of companies saying, you need to implement AI, you need to do this, we're funding AI race, blah, blah, blah. That is the hottest topic that every company is talking about right now. And that AI is going to take 30% of the jobs that we have, but
30%. I think people are saying like
60%, 65 to like 70%.
Yeah.
Right. And you hear everybody saying that AI is going to change everything. And today I feel like poking some holes in that.
Yeah, I think so. Today's episode's really geared around.
It's just a bunch of hot takes.
Hot takes.
A bunch of hot takes.
I like hot takes.
And this one is top of mind because we have tried implementing certain tools when it comes to producing this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them have been good and some of them have sucked. And right.
Yeah.
I really just want to be transparent when it comes to how we're implementing these tools in our lives.
Okay.
Right. But I think what really spurred this is that McKinsey released a study recently saying that AI could unlock 4.4 trillion in productivity.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great headline.
It is. And I think I'm pretty sure McKinsey also produced a study it was based on last year's data, around like 90% of all AI projects fail.
Yes.
And I think it's kind of speaks to what we had talked about at the caveat in the beginning of this episode, is that AI is moving so fast that what you did last year has almost no relevance to what you can do with AI this year.
Yes.
So that study, it's a great headline, but it's already obsolete.
Absolutely. Yeah. But they're also saying that 92% of companies plan to increase investments in AI. And I think we're seeing a lot of that. AI is very, it's frothy right now.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's talking about it because there's all of this exuberance around the potential.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have so much potential for cost savings, i.e. not having to hire people and decreasing direct cost or direct labor to, increase productivity, but also increase profits. Every board is asking every CEO, what is your AI strategy? Because it's kind of like 10 years ago or 15 years ago when you would ask, what's your cybersecurity strategy? Because I want to sound smart on the board, blah, blah, blah. I read a headline.
Yeah.
Now it's the same thing. Oh, I'm going to be a valid participating board member. Let me ask the CEO, what's his AI strategy?
Mm-hmm.
Like, no one really has one. And that's or the strategy sounds great, but going from strategy to implementation, it just gets shoved down. So the CEO gets a directive from the board of producing an AI strategy. He then pushes it to his direct reports, who then push it to their direct reports. And eventually it gets down to an operator level of, you must implement AI. And that's when, shit kind of hits the fan, because you got the wrong people kind of designing or architecting what it is, the outcome you want the AI to produce. What is the outcome I want?
Yes.
And that sometimes is the hardest part. You go straight to,
I want 10x.
Or I need to implement AI. What is the outcome? Implement AI.
Yes.
That is not an outcome.
That's not an outcome. What is the problem you were trying to solve by implementing AI?
Exactly.
Are you trying to decrease your overhead?
Yeah,
Are you trying to, right? What
increase customer satisfaction? Is it, what am I trying to do? Am I going to reduce the need to hire more entry-level people into my help desk? I want to automate tier 1 in the help desk with AI so that my people are now become tier 3 and I don't need to backfill any tier 1. Or I want to, move away from off hours. I want AI to handle off hours customer service or monitoring, what have you.
Mm-hmm.
So having that outcome, I think, is the problem. We haven't got to that point yet.
Yeah. So I think what we're seeing is that everybody is spending a lot more money, but nobody has successfully implemented a solution that can be sustainable without eyes on it constantly. Right. And
yeah, I think some people are doing it, but it just depends on.
It's clunky though.
Yeah. Like I think the first use case, the chat that everybody uses, but there's still, I think the use case that's getting used more now than anywhere else is one, AI voice. Almost every help desk that you get called has an AI voice that's trying to schedule you or do a tier 1 triage. The second was coding, like,
yes,
Codex, Cursor, Claude Code, like all of those have really amplified the ability of someone to develop code.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. But on a higher level, like what you're trying to do,
right,
it has not decreased your workload.
Now it's increased my workload. Yes.
Yeah.
Right,
but it has also increased productivity.
Exactly. So the way I look at what I'm using it for, so let's say for the example, what I'm using OpenClaw to do for this show as a proof of concept,
mm-hmm.
right? So creating an AI agent to be a producer, to create a CRM of potential guests, to then research those guests, email those guests, try to book those guests. Like all of that is being done by an AI agent.
Yes.
And doing the whole kind of quasi pipeline for guests. And yeah, it's taken me some time and a little bit of time every day to get the agent to do exactly what I wanted to do and learn a lot of lessons and, getting it to function. There's no enterprise management tool for OpenClaw yet. I'm sure someone will build one soon. I mean, NVIDIA has one, but
we'll get there.
There'll be others.
Yeah.
But it's doing tasks I would never have gotten around to, like the ability to do deep research and find potential guests, to email them, to wait for responses, to move it through the pipeline. Like those tasks need to be done every day, and having something do that for me is, amplifies my ability to, or the show's ability to. I wouldn't have done it. We wouldn't have hired somebody.
Yeah.
So now I've filled a vacancy and a function in the show with AI.
Yes. And I think what we're seeing though is the simplistic task.
Yes.
That is taking twice as long as it would have, because people are now reverting to, oh, I want AI to write my email for me. So rather than formulate an email, write it on the spot, I'm going to take the question that I was asked and I'm going to put it into this chat bot, and then I'm going to ask it what I should respond. And then I'm going to copy and paste that. And then I'm going to email it. And that should not be the case. We should still be using our brain for simplistic tasks, such as formulating an email response or formulating a text message. Or
my counter to that would be,
really,
I can have and I'm sure Copilot will do it or can do it. Like I can have OpenClaw read my email and respond for me.
That'd be amazing.
So it can do it. I do it. It does it now.
Are you responding to my emails?
Never. You can do text as well. You can tell it what to monitor and give it the credentials and tell it what to respond to.
Okay, that functionality has legs, but I think.
Yeah. So then the problem becomes, how do you ensure you get back briefed on everything your agent is responding to?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, you told me, oh, thanks for the happy birthday for my niece. And you're like, oh, you're welcome.
We're gonna need the book that Miranda
Melly,
Priestley.
who the fuck was that?
Exactly.
Well, see, if you think in the future, I have my Meta glasses on, and then you come up to me, and it recognizes your face, and it tells me in my ear, that's John Doe from Oracle, and his wife's name is Jane, and they have 3 kids, and her birthday was last week. Like, all that can just be fed to you.
People know you.
Yes.
And they know that you don't remember anybody's birthday.
So when I get my Meta glasses, I should just get them, and then I'll remember everybody.
See? But we're going to know that it's fake.
How's it fake?
Because it's not you.
It's not me remembering, but it's me saying it.
You barely remember immediate family members' birthdays. You think you're going to remember John Doe's birthday?
I won't,
daughter?
But Meta will, or OpenClaw, whatever I'm using on the back end.
Does it seem disingenuous actually doing that in practice?
So that's the question, I guess, for humanity. Do you care that someone remembers your birthday, or do you care that they told you happy birthday?
Neither.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, if you forget my
Could be a poll
birthday,
question.
if you forget my birthday, we're going to have a problem.
Yes, that one I'll never forget.
Right? If you forget one of our children's birthday,
okay,
that'd be kind of sad. I wouldn't mind, but I think they would.
Mm-hmm.
But you remembering some CEO's daughter's niece's birthday, like that just.
Yeah, but that's one of the qualities or skills of a highly effective salesperson, is knowing those details, to be your friend, even though they don't know you personally.
I really think I should have gone into sales.
Yeah, because like Salesforce, they have, or most all CRMs, they have the fields, and you put all that in. So when you get off the call, when you learn about them, you put it in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you read that before you make the next call to them, and you're refreshed with, hey, how's Johnny doing in baseball this year? Like things that make it sound like you know them.
Mm-hmm.
And that helps.
Definitely.
So back to our AI topic.
Okay, so back to the AI topic.
So AI hasn't reduced workload.
It hasn't reduced workload. Well, I think it has in certain cases, right? Like, but the things that people see, it hasn't reduced workload, right? If you're not a coder, you haven't seen.
Not everybody, but I think that even with the coders, I think they did a study, and they were saying that they are like, I'll misquote it, but let's say they're 10x more productive.
Mm-hmm.
And they found that because of that more productivity, they were actually working more, right? They're getting more done faster, and they're continuing to do it. It's not like, oh, yesterday I could produce 100 lines of code, and today, and it took me 8 hours. So now I'm working 8 to 10 hours, and I'm producing 10,000 lines of code.
Yeah.
Versus, if you were to do just raw math, you'd be like, oh, 1,000 lines of code today took 8 hours. 1,000 lines of code tomorrow takes 2 hours. He has 6 hours of free.
Yes.
No, you're just reinvesting those 6 hours or 8 more hours into doing more, because you're now getting more complicated tasks assigned because you're producing. It's always that law of, when you produce more, you get more.
That's one of the selling points of AI though, right? You're going to be able to do more work in a shorter amount of time, which means you're going to get 5 more hours back in your day. But alas, people are not actually doing that. They're just continuing to produce.
Yeah. Why would I? Like, if I'm paying you for 8 hours a day, I want you to work all 8 of them,
mm-hmm.
which means produce more.
Yeah. So that's one of the downfalls. I think another downfall is the subscription spiral. You are now subscribing to how many different LLMs?
Oh, that's ridiculous.
And you're paying for, I don't even know what you're paying for anymore. We've got Claude, we've got Chat, we've got Gemini.
I have them all because I'm evaluating them, and then I'm also using them for discrete tasks based on which model is best for that task.
Mm-hmm.
But
the compute.
And yeah, the compute is bad. But then every time you want to do, I'll run, for example, like I've been doing the voice testing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I'll walk through that just I'm sure people are more technical than me that listen to this and probably know in more data can tell me what I'm doing wrong.
Yes, but I want Sally from Kansas to be able to understand what.
So I'm running OpenCall, right? And that's free. Ooh, OpenCall is free. That part doesn't cost any money, but I'm running it on a Mac, which does cost money. So then it needs a brain. So I have its default brain using OpenAI with, ChatGPT 5.3. It's at like 5.5 now, but I'm using the other one because the tokens are cheaper.
Okay.
And then you get an API key and you pay per million tokens. And that's minimal. Let's say that's $30 a month. And then I have Claude for more complicated stuff, like when I want to build PowerPoints, I want to do a better writing job. And let's say that's a subscription, $100, $200 for the year, I think.
Okay.
And then
we pay more than that, but
yeah. So let's say I have that, and then I have Olama, which is a $20 a month API key, and then I use that for like basic stuff. So Kimi K2 is the LLM for that. So like answering email, giving me my status updates, I use a cheaper token brain. So that's 3 right there that it uses based on different things.
Yeah.
And then when I want to do the voice, I had to get a phone number assigned and the ability for my OpenClaw to use a skill to talk to it. And then I had to pay, it's like $2 for the phone, and then it's fraction of a cent per minute. But let's say that works out to $10 a month.
Yes.
And then it has to reconnect back to when my OpenClaw goes and talks to it, says, oh, make the call. It makes the call. I hear the voice. I say something. That what I say has to get relayed back to OpenClaw. So the phone needs to hit my OpenClaw server or system. So then I have to use Tailscale, or I have to use Cloudflare. I have to use something else, which is another subscription. Let's say that's $5 a month. And then you're like, oh, it's working. I can do bidirectional calls, but it sounds like a robot, right? It's using a robot voice. So I want to pay for the upgraded voice. So now I need an 11 Labs license, which is another $5 a month.
Yes.
So now all of this combined to do the phone calling thing, which probably does 10 minutes a month, is probably another $100 a month.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's just a super easy use case, and I'm very minimally using it. But you can see how the subscription, you have to pay. It's like all along the chain, there's a different fee.
For sure. And then you take it a step further, we're getting a Mac Mini.
Yes.
People are trying to opt out of all these subscriptions, but now they're investing in hardware.
Yeah, because now the converse to that is if you buy a studio or a lawn, then they're making tiny PCs now, or not, I don't know, servers.
Yeah.
Like tiny servers to run AI models on. So now instead of paying ChatGPT or Olama or Claude or Anthropic or Grok or Gemini, which I subscribe to all of those. But if you take you can run, a couple billion, point model on a small piece of hardware like a Mac Studio, which is, like 10 grand. Or these other ones they're coming out with for like $1,500 or $2,000. You can run like a Kimi K2 or Quen on one of these models in your house that's running on your own server, so there's no token cost.
Yeah.
So now when you want to ask a question or have your OpenClaw or your AI agent do something, every time it sends that question or the block of string of text back to the brain, it costs nothing because it's just using a local brain.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's awfully complicated. But yeah. So yeah, so now you buy the hardware and you avoid that cost, but instead of $100 a month by the drip, you're just taking a $1,000 or $10,000 hit all at once.
Yeah.
And you got to maintain that model and update it when it comes out.
Absolutely.
And train it.
And that's another thing, right? The updates, because this is open source.
Yeah. Every update breaks shit. And then you end up spending hours fixing what you broke.
What you didn't break, what somebody else broke with their new update.
Yeah. Because it's open source, so you got 5 or 10 or 1,000 different contributors, and then one decides, oh, I want to redo how the config file is structured to handle this.
Yes.
It used to do it this way. I want to do it this way. So let me rewrite all of that. Now everybody's customizations break that were built on the other model.
Yes. So what actually moves the needle for us when it comes to our implementation of AI?
I think building I love Claude Cowork in Excel and PowerPoint.
Yeah. What's your default LLM?
I have it for different purposes. Like,
okay, let's say We are, I don't know, spreadsheet work.
Spreadsheet, it's all Claude.
Yes.
Spreadsheet, PowerPoint's all Claude.
What do you default to chat for?
The chat would be,
I'm finding myself defaulting less to chat.
I would go Chat GPT, but now I Slack Melly, our AI agent. So I don't ask questions to Chat GPT anymore. I just ask Melly, and she will answer because she uses the brain from whichever one of those she needs.
If you were to advise somebody as a first step to implementing any of this, would it be to go play with OpenClaw?
Probably not, unless you're technically savvy. So
Yeah.
I think if you're technically savvy, yeah, that's probably a great one. Or you look at, Claude Cowork, which I think is fantastic. Like, I think Claude Cowork, it's not an always on agent that will do independent tasks, but you can open it up like inside of Excel with you. And then you have whatever your file is and be like, hey, analyze this file, help me create graphs to better show the financial model. And then it will look at it and goes, oh, I think this is what the file does. Hey, let me run these calculations out for the next 5 years. And then I'll do a cash analysis, burn rate analysis, and create graphs. And it'll do all that for you. And then in PowerPoint, the same. Hey, I want to build a PowerPoint deck for XYZ. Here's a couple of the data points I need to put in it. Go for it.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really help you amplify your work product if you're using Excel, Word, or PowerPoint as part of your daily work.
Where Claude comes in clutch for me,
Yeah.
creating one-pagers.
Yeah, I'm sure it'd be good.
It is absolutely like,
so it's more creative.
It's definitely more creative. ChatGPT is kind of, I'm not using it nearly as much as I used to.
Yeah. I think the newest version for chat, it's pretty good at giving facts and it's pretty fast.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think I've had a lot of past run-ins where it hallucinated data and evidence-based, like just writings that I've done. And I don't want to spend my time going to fact check it.
Yeah. Gemini is really good for free.
Is it?
Yeah.
And your hierarchy of LLMs.
I'm not authoritative, but.
Why aren't you?
I'm not, because I don't think I've.
I think you've played with them enough.
Played with them enough. Yeah. That doesn't make me, I don't think formally educated on all of them, but I like I don't know. My default brain for what I use with my OpenClaws would be OpenAI.
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 For your OpenClaws.
Yeah. And most time because it was slightly cheaper and,
So yours is cost.
Yes, I'm a cost-based. But I think it produces similar answers. Coding, I know a lot of guys that swear by, Codex, and they say, oh, OpenAI is great at coding. And then others that are like, no, Claude's the best. And a lot of times you build one in a cheaper model, have it, or the vice versa, sorry. I know people that use Claude and have it architect what it's supposed to be and say, all right, now produce all of the different, independent processes that need to run to make this application work. And then give me prompts for an AI agent to build each one discreetly and then pass it off to ChatGPT and say, all right, write that.
If you had an unlimited budget, would that change how you implemented things?
Yes. Because then I would just always go for the best model possible.
So you think spending the most on it is?
No, that's where I think the industry will mature. It's the same with people, right? I think I was talking to somebody about this the other day. It's the same as I have tasks to do in my job.
Yes.
And in your office. So let's say, we'll use Next Chapter as an example, right? You have people that help you with events.
Yes.
Right? So when you have people help you with events, the person that's going to take stuff out of the car and bring it in the building, do they need to be senior level event planner?
No.
Right. The person who's creating the images, do they need to be a senior level event planner?
No.
Okay. So then it's the same with an LLM. So like I'm trying to plan an event with an AI model. So bringing the stuff from the car into the room, I don't need to use an expensive model for that. I would just use the cheapest model I can get because it's low cost labor. It's same on the AI side, low cost labor. Doesn't have to be smart, just has to do that and that.
Yeah.
So why spend more than you have to? Why task a senior level person to do that job? So that's how I kind of look at the models. Why task a high level model to do something a low level model can do? So that your junior employee is like an agent running on a slower model.
How is Anthropic trying to pull all of this in house? Right? Because right now, you're going to this company for this, you're going to this company for this, you're going to this company for this.
I think
Eventually, it's going to be a subscription model already in ChatGPT for your own AI agent.
Yeah, well, they're all building. You can build your own AI agents inside of their platform.
Why haven't you converted to that?
Because I don't want to be locked into anyone, for one, and it's harder to build an agent than you think.
Yes.
But I want the always on full access to my operating system. It's running its own thing. It's like a person.
Yeah.
That's what I want. And not all of those, models out of the box can do that. You have to write it and then have it reference it. And I think that's where OpenClaw was so pivotal. It kind of changed the game with that and said, hey, everybody can have an agent without having to write it for yourself. And what Anthropic has done, and they've killed a lot of companies, is they just keep releasing with the new model like skills. So you can say like the Open Claude in Word, you can train it with a RAG database on NDAs and TAs or partnership agreements or legal documents that you've approved and agreed to. Say, these are the terms that I've agreed to before. This is what I've done. And then when a new thing comes in, you say, hey, analyze this new thing for me. And it will act as a first screen lawyer and look at the contract and say, here are all the ways it deviates from contracts you signed in the past. I recommend pushback with these terms, redline this. Here it is, redlined in a PDF and in a Word document. You can send it back.
If you're our lawyers listening to this, we don't do any of that. We come to you first.
But I'm saying, so now I'm sure there was an AI company that said, hey, we're going to build an AI agent that does legal review or helps with contracts, and then have a whole product that you upload your contract and it'll do an analysis like that. You can do that out of the box.
Yeah.
With OpenClaw. Same with, I think some pen testing and some security review. They're just releasing skills inside of the model that is just pre-written, instructions on telling the model how to do that. And then the model just does it.
Does it blow your mind at how quickly this is moving and changing, and
the
speed at which we're able to, I don't think I can keep up with it.
Yeah, I think some of these models, like it's gone from teenager to adult in like a quarter.
Yeah. We've established that spending more on AI doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get better results.
Correct. And I think for most companies, just pick one that suits what you need.
Yeah.
Get one monthly subscription, unless you're building agents and you need other things. You could use Gemini for free or Grok for free and then buy one of the other ones.
But you also need to make sure you understand the problem you are trying to solve, why you're implementing any of this in the first place.
Exactly.
And it can't be because everybody else is doing it.
Yes, because if I don't do AI, then I'm going to get overrun by it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, that's great. That's probably a true statement. But why are you trying to do? What are you? Pick a function that you want AI to do for you or help you with.
Yes.
Is
100%.
it accounting? Is it sales? Is it marketing? Is it operations? What is it? What do you want it to do?
And just pick one.
Yes.
For now.
Yes.
Don't try to change all of it at once. Pick one. I would say the one where you're burning the most cash.
Time or cash, yeah.
Time and cash. If you can save some by making an implementation of some of this, then choose one.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Decompress.
You and I have this conversation often that whenever we go somewhere, it's really hard to live up to our past experiences. And now we feel like we've gotten to a point where we're burning money because it doesn't live up to the hype.
True.
Right. And it's something like, let's say you go on a vacation, right? You and I go somewhere every February and we try to pick a new place. We try to pick a new experience. This past February, we went somewhere, spent an astronomical amount of money on a couple of experiences. And the entire time we were in those experiences, I was like, shit, this is just a waste of fucking money because I have something similar back at my house and it is 10 times better and like a sixth of the cost.
Yeah.
And the more life we live, the more times we encounter this.
Yeah, very true.
And it sucks because it's like, I feel like when we were in our 20s, we liked things more.
Well, yeah, like things, and every experience was new. And when you, I think we've talked about this before. You are a foodie. You love to go out to Michelin star restaurants or Michelin adjacent restaurants.
I just love good food.
Right. And I think we've gotten to the point where they're almost indistinguishable. Like you go to one chef's tasting menu and you go to the next and you're like, oh, was this better? And for me now, it's gotten to the point where the only things I really remember are the presentations. Like, oh, when we went to, what's the restaurant in Chicago? Alinea. The only thing I really remembered is the dessert and the ice cream on the table. That was cool as shit.
Yeah.
And, you know, the perfect pair at the Inn at Little Washington. But I remember more about the Inn at Little Washington, about staying there and the experience in the monkey bar. And then, yeah, it's just interesting. Like, because if you've only gone to one, it would be you'd probably remember every morsel that you ingested versus you've gone to so many, it's hard to remember.
And this is a concept that we're trying to teach our children, is that diminishing returns on personal spending is, it's something to pay attention to, right? Because they have social media. They have a peer group that's their peer group, right? They're growing up in an area where there's a lot of abundance. You see labels, every car in the parking lot is probably better than the teacher's car, right?
Yeah.
And there's a life experience that they're having that I don't want them to think that they're always chasing the next best thing.
Yeah. I think that's kind of, we've been conditioned that way. Like capitalism is that way. And we've kind of been conditioned that whatever you just had was great, but there's something better.
Yes.
You just got to keep moving. You got to, the $500 a night hotel needs to become the $5,000 a night hotel because it's going to be 10x better, is it? And then you have, the car, the $50,000 car, oh, I got to get the $100,000 car.
Yeah.
I got to get this handbag, is a, I don't know, Louis, and I have to have Hermes, and then I have, it's a constant leveling up. Everyone's got to level up.
Yeah.
It's a starter home. Like maybe it's just your home.
Maybe it's just your home. Maybe it's just your home. And speaking from a personal experience, we paid maybe like $90 a night for our yurt outside of Volcano National Park.
That was pretty awesome.
That experience was absolutely epic. It was epic.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And then we paid most recently, I think it was like $1,800 a night for a certain hotel. And I can't say honestly that it was better than the yurt experience.
Yeah. An experience for experience, probably not.
Right?
Yeah. And then
was it worth it? I mean, sure.
Yeah. And I think to some degree, your house is really nice and you go some places, like we go places, and it's like, oh, I'm spending all that money and it's not as nice a bed as I have at home.
Yeah.
So maybe I'd be better served spending less money, but doing another experience that is like sleeping in a yurt. Never did that before.
You could have slept in a tent in the middle of Africa.
I'm reconsidering.
But you chose not to.
Reconsidering. I might do that now. I might do that now. I might be out of, hot take, I may be done with the destination, all-inclusive, like stay on the resort thing.
Yeah.
So I think I love that for like 2 days.
Yeah.
And by the third day, I'm like, all right, I've eaten at every restaurant here. I could keep doing this, and I'm a creature of habit. I could do the same day every time, but you're like, that's when the money starts creeping in for me. We're like, I'm spending $1,800 a day to do the same day.
Aw, babe.
Yeah, I know. I'm growing.
You're growing as a person.
I am, but I think every vacation, I still need those 2 or 3 days of just chill.
I'm making a mental note as I plan our next February
I just
trip.
need a couple days at a luxury resort where I can just chill. But I do agree with you too on like massages. it's like chasing the higher spa experience sometimes results in a worse massage.
Yeah. It's just not there for me anymore.
Yeah.
Especially when I have something going so good with whoever I have here.
Mm-hmm.
When you go somewhere else and it's not as good and you've paid 5 times as much,
Yeah.
you're like, come on.
Yeah. So,
and as we age, I'm just evaluating more what we spend our money on.
mm-hmm. And what do you think that is? Why do you think we've been conditioned to constantly want the next best thing?
We've been fed this narrative that this is what you're supposed to want.
Yeah.
Right. But and it's not even, I can't even blame social media. Think about television shows. Think about Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Think about all of the things that you grew up watching and how that impacts the way you live your life today.
Yeah. I mean, that's the...
Right? Clueless.
Yeah.
All the movies we saw. Scarface.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of things that we're fed via entertainment that we take as reality.
True. Yeah, I think understanding what makes you happy.
And that's
really hard. And I think that sounds like the easiest question in the world.
Yeah.
What makes you happy? And when you try to break it down, it proves to be very difficult, especially when you start to carve away the things that make you happy that you just say because everyone says you're supposed to say it.
Okay, I can tell you a moment in the last 7 days where I was so freaking happy. And I don't think you would guess it.
Okay. It wasn't when you got your new purse.
I got a new purse? Oh.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
No.
I'm joking.
And you know what's funny? That is a subscription. I will send that thing back because I'm not spending money on it.
Yeah.
That is a subscription.
I was just joking.
Okay. No, we are, what night was it? Sunday night. And after the baseball game.
Okay.
And we had 3 picnic tables full of kids eating fruit and pizza and sandwiches and drinking water. And then after they're done eating, they go out onto the baseball field and they have a tennis ball. And you've got one coach just tossing a tennis ball at these boys as they're trying to hit home runs while he's standing there eating a sandwich. And you and I are up on the railing and we're just looking down on all of this chaos that is running around. And I was truly happy that our children get to grow up experiencing such just simplistic joy.
Yeah.
Nobody had a screen. There were no devices anywhere. And it was amazing.
Yep. No, that was pretty epic. And it was like a safe, that little league space is so fantastic. And like kids were running everywhere. Parents were just kids can just run through the park. No one's, worried about them. And then they're on the field playing, having fun.
Yeah.
It was great. That was a great experience.
So I look back at my 20s and spending money just for optics.
Yeah.
Right. And one thing that will still get me, if I walk into a store and I'm dressed like a bum and I am treated a certain way, it makes me want to flex that financial muscle.
Yes.
Very much so, like the Pretty Woman scene where she walks in and she's dressed like a hooker because, lo and behold, she's a hooker. But
hot take, she was a hooker.
They ignore her. And then she comes back and she spends a ridiculous amount of money. And she's like, you just made a big mistake. Big mistake.
Yeah.
Right. That moment. And that still gets me sometimes. Right. Like if I walk into a store and I am ignored or whatever, treated a certain way, I want to flex so hard. But I am growing as a human.
Good for you.
And I walk out.
Nice.
Right. So it's spending for optics versus spending for actual enjoyment.
Yeah. And I think like, once you know what makes you happy and what experiences like we talked about that make you happy, then you start to realize that there's not a big paywall for luxury to make you happy. Right.
It's all bullshit.
Yeah. Like you talked about the yurt. The yurt was quite inexpensive.
Yeah.
Compared to the other luxury hotels. And we were 10 minutes from a volcano that was erupting.
Yeah.
It was pretty epic.
It was amazing.
Yeah. And that experience is one of my favorite experiences of my life, being able to go out there while it's dark, have the unfettered view of the stars above, and then all of a sudden see the red glow of that lava shooting up. And it's something I can't describe.
No, you can't buy it either.
Yeah.
You absolutely cannot buy it. It was 4:00 in the morning.
Yep.
We were still jet lagged, so we got up and we're just walking through this dark trail, and boom,
There it was.
right? And I think this really matters because people are spending a lot more time online around. They're following everybody in the world, right? You're following the Kardashians, you're following this, you're following that. And you see this aspirational spending happening.
And you're being marketed to by people who are getting paid to market to you
Oh my
as
gosh.
influencers of, how you want this luxury handbag, how you want this great experience,
Yeah.
how you want this luxury, blah, blah, blah.
And let's say you're trying to ignore it, right? Like, oh no, I don't need those boots. And then you go on to another social media app and boom, there's those boots. Or you're fed this article and you're scrolling and you're reading.
And there's an advertisement for the boots.
And there's an advertisement for the boots.
And you go to Google and you go to your website, and on the right-hand side, look at that. That's another advertisement for those boots.
And
The universe is telling me to buy these boots.
the statistic is that it's 7 to 11 times for you to see that item before you actually buy it, right? So it is just going to feed it to you constantly.
Right. So instead of the universe, it's the algorithm
Absolutely.
that's telling you to buy this.
It is the
Because that's what
higher
people say, right? They're
power.
like, it's destiny. I've seen this 7 times, so it's the universe telling me I need to buy this.
Nope.
Like, no, it's the algorithm telling you you should buy this.
There are people sitting on the other side that are deciding who sees what ad, and they're like, oh, there's Alicia. She's between the ages of 30 and 45. She can afford this, so let's feed that to her over and over again, right?
Yeah.
Until I'd say I don't want to see it anymore.
Yeah, I think it kind of dovetails back to the AI thing. I feel like it's always the next thing. You got to move on to the next thing, and you got to spend more to make more, and you got to be. And I've had that conversation. You and I have had it before, specifically around during COVID. I have it with a friend of mine all the time. Is you don't always have to be advancing. You don't always have to be, oh, I got to pick up a new skill. I got to pick up a new, that doesn't have to be the case. If it doesn't make you happy, like your business, if your business is $1 million a year business and someone comes in and gives you business advice and says, oh, you could scale this 10x, you could be a $10 million a year business if you invested blah, and you did this and you productized and scaled and built a platform, and maybe that doesn't make you happy. Maybe the $1 million business makes you happy. Shouldn't feel pressure to grow. Maybe you're like, hey, I could make more, sure, but that would cost more time. And time I'm not willing to spend.
No.
It's crazy.
Definitely not. Social media.
Yes.
A lot of advice you see. Start your own business, baby.
Oh, yes. Love it. Because it's almost like our healthcare system. The one treatment for everyone. Right?
Yes.
Like, oh, you have an infection. Take this X prescription of penicillin because, we tested it on, 45 white guys and it worked. So it should work for everybody.
The common denominator of the most successful entrepreneurs that I know personally is that they did not start as an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
They started working in their industry and they worked their asses off, or I would say let's say from college age until maybe like late 20s, early 30s before they decided to dive into entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Is that true for you?
Yes.
That's true for you.
That's true for me. And I think a lot of it's a valuable, I don't know if it's the sole thing that predicts the success, but it is a predictor of success. Like understanding what industry you're trying to disrupt or what industry you're trying to create the business and what outcome or, what are you delivering? What service are you delivering to people? If you haven't lived it or understand the problem, then it's really hard to just say, I'm going to create a business and go at it without knowing anything there is. And sure, there's always successes behind there's a counterpoint to every argument, but I think it's really challenging, and entrepreneurship is not for everybody. And I think that's also the thing is some people, their happiness meter and the levers they're willing to move to make them happy, time, and money and all these things, like, you have to understand what it is that makes you happy. And entrepreneurship is great for some people. And most people realize entrepreneurship is great for them when they're working at a job and they go, you know what? this sucks. I want to be my own boss. I think I have a better way to do this.
Yes.
Or I experience a problem in my life and I go, I have a better way to solve this. And then that is a great way to start a business versus what I think is being marketed, especially in social media and such, is here's this, low code, no code way to start your own business, have your own SaaS platform in 3 days, or, oh, hey, how to make money on Amazon, become a seller, start your own business.
Yeah.
Right. And this is how I used AI to make $3,000 a week.
The worst fucking advice you will ever see. Run the other direction.
Yes.
Run the other direction, because people are not, they're showing you all of the highlights, right? They're showing you all the highlights in an industry that you have no idea. You have no experience in it. So if you haven't actually worked in the industry that you are trying to start your own business in,
right? Big
ol' air quotes.
Yeah.
Like, what are you even doing?
Yeah. Why would I start my own business? What are they selling me? And it's what, own your own time, right? Be able to
if you buy my course.
Yeah. Then I'll teach you, you can have financial freedom. You can have freedom over your own time. You can set your own schedules.
You can work from anywhere.
You can be autonomous. Yeah. And what they don't say is, hey, for the first 2 years, most startups, you don't make any money.
Yes.
You as the owner make no money.
Yes.
Your employees make money. You do not.
Yes.
And yeah, there's cash flow gaps, and there's learning a balance sheet, and there's lines of credit, and there's taxes, and all these other things that for the most part, the first couple of years of your startup, you don't have autonomy. You're not making any money. There is no financial security or freedom. It is a grind.
You are not on a private jet. You are not doing any of the shit that people flash on social media.
Mm-hmm.
None of it.
Yep.
But you are stressed.
Yeah.
And you don't have time for vacation. And
yeah, you go from being stressed about your work schedule or your boss to being stressed about your balance sheet or your bank statement.
No, I think my biggest piece of advice is, if you are coming out of college, find an industry that you are curious about and then go work for that industry. Do not go and start your own business, because you have no lived experience. And yes, there are outliers. Maybe you're part of the 1% that's lucky that will start a random business and sell it for millions. Great. I love that for you. But for a majority of the population, that is not the case. And I will also say that I follow this one woman she goes to our children's school.
Okay.
And she works a normal 9-to-5 job. I think she works remote like 3 days a week, goes into the office 2 days a week. She's in her, I think, late 40s.
Mm-hmm.
She is so freaking happy.
Yeah.
And she loves it. She's like, I have stability. I have a retirement.
Yes.
I don't have anybody calling me on the weekends. I take 3 weeks of vacation a year. Like, I go away every holiday. Like,
yes.
And that is amazing.
Yeah. Somewhere along the line, I don't know what happened in society, but we went from, and I'm not saying you should fall on the trap, but of the corporate ladder, but somewhere it was get a good job, work your way up the corporate ladder, become a manager, become a boss.
Yes.
And that's a great way of life for a lot of people. And same with tradesmen. Like, hey, you could become an apprentice as a plumber, an apprentice as an electrician. You can work your way up and become an electrician or a plumber. And then you get, career advancement, and you can start your own business, blah, blah, blah. And we went from that to everybody out of college. Don't go to college, doesn't matter. Start your own business.
Yeah.
Be an entrepreneur. Like, I don't know. And it's kind of like we've looked down upon the other careers, even though satisfaction and, happiness can be derived in all those ways.
Yeah. And maybe you don't want to be in charge of your own income.
Or it's fucking stressful.
It's stressful as shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, if you don't have to and you have no desire, then don't.
Right. And back to the experiences thing. Like, if the things that make you happy in life don't cost more than X, then do you truly need to make more than X?
Yeah. Agreed.
Like, obviously you need to make enough so that you can retire and still live the lifestyle you want post your working career. But, if you can save, like with the retirement or a 401k, and you can get to a place where you can retire at 65, 70, but all the time you're working in a job that provides you leave and you are happy doing what you're doing, and you get to have those experiences because you can do them with the budget that you afford, then you don't have to continually achieve or start your own business.
Yeah.
You can be happy wherever you are.
Someone once told me that I think when you start your own business, you're usually younger, right? You maybe got little kids, and you always feel that guilt because you are working so freaking hard, right? And you're missing things, and maybe you have to travel a lot, right? When you started DPS, you were always working.
Yes.
But the kids were small.
Yeah.
And the most amazing thing is that they don't remember any of it.
Right.
Right? They don't remember any of it. And that was a really big takeaway, that when you're younger, and if your children are small, between, I would say, anything under 6, work as hard as you possibly can and get to a point where you can pull off the brakes and be comfortable, or you can pull off the gas and be comfortable.
Yeah. Because I think like the time, and maybe I can, it's all about time management. We always talk about the air in the balloon, but in the beginning of a child's life, right, you can dedicate more air to working. But like during the middle parts here, for me, I personally want to invest more time in my kids than in my job.
Yeah.
Because I want to be the Little League baseball coach. I want to go to all their games. I want to go to their school assemblies. I want to go to the back to school night. I want to go to their volleyball games. I want to go when they have whatever, experience they have at their school, like when they're doing career fair or they're doing science fair. I want to be able to participate in all those things because those things I remember. Like
they remember.
My youth, and they'll remember whether you were there or not.
Absolutely.
Right. And whether you went on one more vacation this year than you did last year or one less, I don't think they remember that as much as, did you come to my games? Did you come to my career fair? Were you present?
And the female experience, I think moms experience a lot of guilt, right? Especially when they're younger. Like, oh, you're putting your child in daycare. Oh, you're leaving your baby with a nanny. Somebody else is raising your baby. Blah, blah, blah. All of the other societal pressure that we put on ourselves. But your kids are not going to remember the fact that you were gone. But when they're 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, they will remember everything. So if they're little, you're fine. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Yep. Do what makes you happy. Find out what makes you happy.
What else do we have to yap about today, baby?
I don't know. I think I've had a yappuccino. Yeah, I need a coffee.
You need coffee?
I do.
I need coffee.
We have a baseball game tonight.
Well, just to kind of tie this all together, more AI does not mean more productivity.
It does not. It can, but it does not.
Spending more money does not mean more happiness.
Yep, it can, but it doesn't mean. It doesn't necessarily. One does not necessitate the other.
And owning your own business is not necessarily better than working for somebody else.
Very true. I know a lot of people that have climbed the corporate ladder and make a lot more money than I have.
Gotta love it.
Yep.
All right. Any parting words?
Subscribe. See? No.
Good job.
Was that good?
That was good.
But yeah, I think if the listeners have any piece of advice that they've gotten that kind of aligns to one of those 3, or maybe it's a 4th that we neglected, drop it in the comment section.
All right. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for tuning in to Married to the Startup. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please take a moment to like, rate, and subscribe to our podcast. Your support helps us reach more people and keeps the conversation going. If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, drop me a message. I love hearing from you guys. Until next time.